Hey, this is Jay Cinema. I'm on Cabbages. He was watching Congo. Take a listen.
Jeff, are you there? Jeff, we're getting ready to start. Are you there?
Jeff, add screen.
No, I don't see you. I only see your background. Can you?
Jeff here. Jeff here. Jeff here. Jeff at screen.
Jeff, where are you? I don't see you on the screen. Is your screen working? All I'm seeing is your background. It's got a monkey.
Jeff here. Jeff on screen.
No, I'm looking at a picture.
Gary,
of
start podcast.
No, we've started the podcast. I'm asking, where are you? All I'm seeing is Amy the talking gorilla on screen with a martini. Where are you?
Jeff here. Jeff at screen. Jeff at screen. Screen.
Jeff, you are not Amy the talking gorilla. You know that you're not the fucking talking gorilla from the movie, right?
Jeff,
you have to,
no.
Jeff, can you answer any of my questions? Just where are you? Just be here.
Jeff want guest. Guest. Jeff want guest. Green drop drink.
We have a great guest for this.
Bong hit. Hit.
Jason
Jeff want
here.
guest.
We're talking about Congo, 1995.
Jeff like movie.
Jeff, come onto the screen, please. We'll be right back. All right, I am thrilled to introduce our guest for today's show. Joining us now is Jay Cinema. This New York rapper, currently based in Harlem, caught my attention last year with albums like Alchemy and Perseverance, a hip-hop duo he did with North Carolina's June. Both really great records. His latest album is called Be a Better Friend, done in collaboration with the producer Chase. You can and should check it out on Bandcamp or wherever music is streamed or sold. Definitely worth your time. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had you on for anything. This is sort of our proper introduction. I've written about you a little bit in the newsletter. We haven't done a proper conversation yet, and we always like to showcase.
Would you say this is proper? Would you say it's proper? I don't know if we're going to call it proper.
I mean, we like to showcase new talent on the show.
Like sometimes it's just you prancing around in a monkey suit, is it?
Not anymore. Although, so again, we're talking about Congo today. Congo is our movie choice. Had you any idea? Did you know anything about this movie before we asked you to watch this, man?
Absolutely not. I was like, what the fuck am I about to watch?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the old Cabbages way.
Hell yeah, I love it.
This is our 90s season, and so our focus is, okay, we're going to do movies that are about basically cover this broad range of films from the 1990s. Right. And so that's everything from big blockbusters to smaller films. Like, it's a wide range of stuff. And like, we've done some like big films like people know about.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you do some weird ones. You're like, oh, this is kind of like less known. And then there's Congo. Which falls into this weird zone of people knew about this movie. It was on opening weekend the #1 movie in America.
No fucking way.
June 1995.
It actually,
oh my god,
like, surprised people.
Wow.
Like the critics hated it for the most part.
Yeah,
which we'll get into later.
Sure.
Generally, this was like, this is gonna flop. This is gonna be a huge flop, and it did fine. You know, it wasn't. It's not going to set any records by any means, and certainly nobody was going twice. But
right,
it made money in the overall.
Shout out to Amy, man. Shout out
to Amy, the talking gorilla. Oh, but the thing about this is, like, it's not like a gigantic flop like some of these films we cover on the show are huge failures. This is a movie that probably, while it didn't necessarily become a blockbuster, it, between the international markets and an okay domestic that technically beat its budget. Wow. You know, we're looking at a film that was a $50 million budget. It finishes in the box office at $81 million. It was #1 in the box office opening weekend. against, mind you, pretty much no new competition. Like everything had
Right.
been 2 weeks or more. Like everything else, it's like a second week of the movie Casper, is like what it had in there. So like, however, the following week it was beaten by
Christina
Batman
Ricci was in
Forever.
it?
In Casper, yeah. Christina
Okay.
Ricci's in that one, yes.
That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Batman Forever comes out the following week, and that's the end of Congo, essentially. But Congo still like makes like 25 million in its first
Congo,
weekend. Like, yeah.
better
So
than
like,
Batman Forever. I'm just going to say it. Not the soundtrack,
uh,
but the movie itself.
Tommy Lee Jones would agree with you
Yeah.
for sure. Jim Carrey
Yeah.
might differ, but
Well,
it
do we
is.
really
It just
believe anything that guy says after he tries
Do
to
we
no,
really?
be Kaufman?
no. I'm just saying that this is an odd film before we even get into the contents of the film because it
Right.
doesn't fall into the kind of stuff we could easily
Gary, had you
categorize
seen
as-
this?
No,
You've
I have
never
not.
seen this.
Never.
So I
saw
was the
this
only
movie.
one coming in with like,
Oh man,
I
wow.
knew what we were getting into.
You
Hell
knew
I
it.
told Gary, I was like, listen, man, walk into this thing, don't run, and try not to worry about anything. If you start worrying, the film falls apart immediately.
Yo,
It's
I
just like
worried right away.
Like if you start worrying, then the ground comes out beneath you like all volcanoes. Because that's what happens when volcanoes erupt. The ground falters.
That's the beauty of practical effects, Jeff.
Yeah,
Which this
yeah.
film is all. Now we live
be
in the
realistic with your volcanoes.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
man.
live in the Marvel age where everything is like CGI here and there. You have this CGI thing, but back in the day, practical effects reigned, and that meant animatronic hippos and people in monkey suits, and the lava just did what the lava did. And I don't know what your
Yep.
problem is, Jeff.
I wouldn't characterize it as a problem.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying I didn't realize that's what happened with volcanoes until
Sure.
I saw Congo.
Wow.
Can you help me with something though, Jeff?
Oh boy.
What was this movie about?
Like honestly though.
What's the plot of this movie, Jeff?
Okay,
Yo,
let me.
I'm so glad you asked that because I
Actually,
wanted
Jay,
to-
go ahead. I'd like to hear you guys give me an answer on this.
I mean, Jay, if you
Right.
have some thoughts on
before
what
I
this movie's
before
about,
I give
I'm
you my
curious.
philosophy on the movie.
I just feel like that Jeff has seen this more times than
I
either
have
of us.
a bunch
Right,
of times.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So
A bunch
I
of
want
times.
someone to tell me what they think this movie's about.
You
I'm
know,
curious.
it's about some diamonds and somehow it ended up about gorillas and
Yeah.
hieroglyphics and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Those
about
are things that were in the movie. That's true.
Those
It's about-
definitely happened. I'm just wondering. I just still don't quite know what this movie's
exactly right.
about. Like, what
Right,
is the
right.
plot of Congo, Jeff?
So
So-
many things happened.
Here's my philosophy on Congo and the viewing of Congo. If you
Okay.
haven't watched the movie before you're listening to the pod, no big deal. You can do it whenever. Really, it's no big deal.
What?
You don't need to see it for this to be
Yes!
funny.
No, you do.
You can,
You
but
should.
if you're going to watch it, my advice to you is this: don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions
Oh.
because the answer to the question will be revealed to you as like the question not being necessary. It's such a weird circular thing. I'll give you an example.
Okay. All right.
We meet a general are we in Zimbabwe at that point?
Right.
We meet this general
Mhm.
who meets with our traveling caravan. And it's like a big important scene. And people get yelled at, money exchanges hands, all kinds of wild shit happens. 10 minutes later, not even, maybe 4 minutes later, the thing that they were discussing is born for all to understand in conversation. So like this dude lays out the importance of things, and then everyone's like, that's not important. Moments like seriously 4 or 5 minutes later. This happens over and over again in the film. Like the diamonds. We are reminded about the diamonds like 5 or 6 times. Then we get into this place and it's not, the diamonds are just laying around. They're not being mined. They're not in the walls. They've all been mined and then laid carefully on the ground. And they're just hanging out waiting for anyone to take them. But if you take them, the monkeys get mad. Except the monkeys were already mad and chased them into where the diamonds were. If they were protecting the diamonds, one of the one things you don't want to do is lead people to what the thing is they want, right? Don't ask questions. It just unravels in front of you and you just get so mad. Like, listen, I've raised my voice 2 octaves since we started this conversation. Because if you try to understand anything, you end up with nothing.
Yeah.
What is this movie about?
Here, you want a fucking question? Why does a monkey drink a martini?
Oh.
That's the only question that matters in the whole
thing. You know,
that's the plot of the movie.
Time. The plot of this movie is look at this martini drinking monkey.
Look at this monkey drinking a martini.
That's it. If you're focusing on anything other than the person in a monkey suit, you're a goddamn fool. You're a fool and a coward.
This monkey has at least like 3 intoxicants over the course of the film. At least
the monkey
3.
Was smoking.
But we don't know.
Do we believe that's weed?
That's a good
I believe it was weed.
That was 100% weed. Hell yeah.
I think your boy, what's his name?
Monroe.
Monroe. Your boy Monroe is getting stoned the whole time. Like, this is
hell
wild.
yeah.
This is wild. So
what am I even
like
doing?
Smoking blunts. The monkey takes the blunt from him and he's like,
shit.
He's the only one that gets it through the whole film.
Right. Amy said, shit, I'm going home. Fuck all that.
Ernie Hudson, who plays Captain Monroe, is the star of this film.
Yeah, easily.
He's the actual star of this film.
Easily.
And
he
I'll
stood
tell
out
you,
the most. Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Not just because he has the greatest performance, the greatest accent in the film, period, hands down, the greatest line deliveries in the film. The fact of the matter is that this movie is like 15, 16 years in the making. Is how long it takes for this film to happen. So there's a book that comes out.
During that time, the kind of movie it was phased completely out of people's minds.
Entirely out.
Nobody gave a fuck about this.
Quote unquote jungle adventure, which is what this is supposed to be. Yeah. By 1995, nobody gives a fuck. We're watching it like Independence Day.
Yeah.
We got stuff like Men in Black. We've got a whole world of film.
Practical effects for who? For what?
It was just like nonsense.
We shooting down alien ships.
So it's like the same way that we did like the screwball comedy on our Joe versus Volcano episode with Prem Rock. Like now,
and that was another artifact of a past time that people didn't understand.
Old Hollywood. But what happened is, like in 1975, the author Michael Crichton, who we best know for writing the book for Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton wrote a book called The Great Train Robbery. And in 1978, they made that into a movie, and he did the screenplay for that. The movie stars Sean Connery, and Sean Connery's character in that film is it is a variation of this, but I want to make sure I get it right. He is playing a character called Charles Monroe. His character called Charles Monroe. Remember, note that Ernie Hudson's character in this movie is Captain Monroe.
Yeah,
Captain Monroe Kelly. So when the movie came out in 78, it was a success, and Michael Crichton immediately tries to pitch the studio a sequel, ostensibly to have Sean Connery reprise his role as Monroe.
Sounds
great. It's a vague idea. He doesn't really have much together, but he pitches the idea to them. They take it. In 1980, he writes and publishes a book called Congo. After having already pitched and sold the idea of a movie to the studio, it was really kind of a vague idea. He then makes the source material for it and intends to be the one who writes the screenplay for this film. And what ends up happening is that it doesn't work out the way that he wants it. Among the things that they say that kept it from getting off the ground in the 80s was Michael Crichton really wanted an actual gorilla to play Amy. He wanted to have an actual gorilla in the movie, which is not really a thing that makes sense to a Hollywood studio.
That's really hard. Yeah, that's like way harder than what they did. Mikey, like, wouldn't you rather just have a human like, and just not have to like train a gorilla.
No, you gotta think ambitious. I understand. I understand.
Fair.
So
Fair.
he
You're
exits
thinking
the
about
project.
the artistry.
Think about
Would
the
this movie
artistry.
have improved? Would this movie have improved with a real gorilla?
You know,
A 1980s version of this movie would have been a nightmare. It would have been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
We got to be honest. With the way that they made movies back in the 80s, this would have been a nightmare. Somebody would have gotten hurt. It would have been an ugly situation. It would have been hilariously bad. But he writes this novel. He has a screenplay. Ultimately, he exits the project. They offer the project to Spielberg to direct. They offer the project to, I think it was John Carpenter to direct. And then eventually it ends up with this film completely rewritten with an entirely different screenwriter.
Is that what the movie's about?
It's vaguely based on the original. So like now it's like it has like an original story credit by Michael Crichton, but it is credited instead to one of our repeat screenwriters on this show, John Patrick Shanley, who wrote and directed Joe versus the Volcano. So if you haven't listened to that episode, guys, go back and check that one out to get a full view of that motherfucker. Who
hits. Nothing but hits.
he after this he didn't do movies for a while. I'll just say that.
Oh, I imagine.
It's the Cabbages.
I wonder why.
And the director of this movie also didn't do movies for a while either after this. Although the director was like a hugely successful Hollywood producer, Frank Marshall. Like he was like a co-founder of Amblin Entertainment. Like so he's like E.T., Raiders, Indiana Jones, all this stuff is him. So all I'm saying is like this movie is unique, but has nothing to do with source material. It's a long way of getting back to the fact that if Monroe as Sean Connery was meant to star in the original, then Ernie Hudson as Monroe is meant to star in this movie.
Right.
That's my argument.
No, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because he definitely just seemed like he was the best. He was the best person. He was the best part of the movie by far, easily.
100%.
It wasn't close.
100%. It wasn't close.
I want to talk a little bit about if we're getting into characters. I don't know if you had more point to make there, Gary.
No, please go ahead.
But if we're going to talk about characters, obviously that character remains kind of concrete throughout. This is a person who has adventured and explored before with a bunch of sort of novices and idiots, right? So he's like the only one that is who he is the whole time.
Right.
Because like the scientist loses... Right. The scientist sort of loses being a scientist at some point and just starts asking questions that scientists would know.
Which scientist?
The gorillologist, the primatologist.
Primatologist Dylan Walsh, Peter Elliott. Yeah.
Peter. So Peter is a scientist. Like this is a whole thing where he like at the beginning is making presentations using terms generally confident that he understands apes. But like throughout the film makes the dumbest moves, has no idea what's going on scientifically at any point. And in fact, nobody even like asks him at all to be like, what do you think the apes are like in this area since you're a primatologist?
Well, yeah.
He's like, I don't, how the fuck should I know about apes?
In those
They're like,
scenarios,
there is no such thing. All he does is deny that apes do anything.
In any movie where you would have a scientist primatologist along for a jungle adventure, you would absolutely utilize his expertise. You would utilize his expertise, right?
Right.
All right.
You know, the one time where he shows any level of actual competence or competency about gorillas is when they're first approached in the jungle by a gorilla who then...
And the only reason that he shows any like real timber is because he has to stand still.
Yeah, stand still.
He's required to stand still.
And then he realizes everybody else ran away.
That's maybe my favorite line in the film.
Oh yeah,
is what did you do or something? And our boy turns and goes, "I ran away. Sorry."
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Sorry. And then just moves. He's like, well, we're moving. Like, there's no reason to stay here. Let's go toward where the fucking ape is.
But you bring up a really good point because the two leads in this film don't matter. And they are not, they reveal, like Laura Linney
Her arc is she's like a coordinator that ends up being a safari leader who can also make lasers guns on the fly.
They really
who can
stretched the whole
shoot down
idea.
missiles with flares.
But she and Monroe can do that. They can take flare guns and shoot heat-seeking missiles.
All of a sudden, she's
side.
a CIA operative.
He basically for Lex Luthor, honestly.
Right.
Like it's the origin story.
It felt like a DC comic to me. I'm currently reading a lot of DC comics, so I'm just like, this is just Lex Luthor, Travicom. Like, he wants a diamond. He doesn't care that his son died. Like, there's a lot in this
I'm listening. That's a good theory.
There's a lot in this movie that just doesn't make sense. Like, why should I care about this guy, Charles? Charles is in a movie for 5 seconds and he dies.
Yeah.
And one person cares.
One person, and it's his ex. It's not his actual current family. She dated him a while ago.
His father, Joe Don Baker, as his father, as this, tycoon, if you will, he is a supervillain.
Yeah.
He is actually that. He 100%. Has seemingly unlimited wealth, and he's trying to amass more of it. And he is willing to go so far as to throw human life after human life at it to get the result. Many people die as a result of his choices.
If I believed for a second this thing had a point, this movie had a point,
yeah,
I would point to that and say there's a deeper thing going on here, but really he was just acting like a boss.
Pretty much.
He's just a boss. He's the boss, so he only cares about money.
That's all it was about for him. And they didn't even want the diamond, sadly. The only thing that argued that you can negate the superior villain argument with is that he didn't want the diamond for anything cool.
Right.
Oh no. He just wanted a faster satellite uplink.
It's for technology. It was so that way we could have better cell phones. That's what it was. It was technology. It was the wave of the future for him. As he said things he had lines like, "It's the future," that's what mattered to him. Who gives a shit?
My general idea of him is he is supposed to be kind of a Scroogey character, right? An Ebenezer type character. What threw me the most about him is the continual changing of the codes to the doorway.
He's paranoid.
But about what? That someone's going to know how to get in the doorway?
Because it's all about, for him, he thinks that there are these other interests who are going after these things. And so the things that he wants. So everything about his organization has become super secretive, based around his paranoia.
Their method of trying to find these diamonds would be breaking into that room while they're at work to figure out what they're talking about. But if they work in telecom, wouldn't they just listen? I just broke my own rule. I started asking questions. This is what happens when you start asking questions.
Right.
It's what are the benefits of Travicon? This seems like a horrible place to work for.
Dude, what are you doing? I mean, did they pay well?
I guess.
Did Ebenezer pay well?
I mean, you're pulling a thread. And I think the problem with this film is that there are too many loose threads to pull. The problem with this film, yes, there's the problem. The problem is that there are this many problems you can pull out of it by asking questions. I'm coming around to your approach now. That asking questions is bad.
It's a bad way to watch the movie. As we take it, right? This evil oil baron type dude, right? His whole thing is, I'm going to just send waves of people over until they close the border of, I think, Zaire.
Yeah.
Which, does that border the Congo? Is that real? I can't trust the movie.
I mean, I don't have a map in front of me, but I think the fact of the matter is we have to consider that a lot of those
they're in Central Africa, I know that.
But they're filmed in places that aren't these places.
In California. They filmed the whole fucking thing in California.
They filmed the city of Zinj is in Culver. It's in Culver City. It is not this is not a movie where any place you're looking at is where it actually is. The jungle stuff, there's some Costa Rica in there, which makes some of these things harder to understand. Truthfully, once we get to the city of Zinj, I think at that point you're only still watching it because you've been watching it for as long as you have. At that point, it's fine. Because
Well,
so
listen,
much, because that to me, the least interesting part is when they get to Zinj. They actually meet gorillas we've been talking about, for an hour and 40 minutes.
well, that's the thing. They introduce things at the weirdest times. They introduce the technology and stuff early, and then each time it's like, cool, we're about to use the technology. A gorilla breaks it. So we don't actually see it working and like helping.
Gorillas break the technology a lot in this film.
Every fucking time we're about to use it, the gorilla comes up and is like, nope. Not going to use it. I don't like technology. Gorilla no like technology. So there's that, and then there's also this thing where like it feels like we're hearing about Zinj a lot, but actually Zinj is put in like halfway through the movie.
Right.
When they're going down the river, there's a mysteriousness to
Herkimer.
It's so
Herkimer Homolka.
Herkimer Homolka.
Say that 3 times fast.
Romanian man.
I hope that's an actual Romanian name.
With a cartoon Russia accent.
Nothing about that character, that actor, that accent is Romanian.
Nothing.
Like, I went to high school with
Tim Curry
with guys who were Romanian, and they did not sound like that. Their folks did not sound like that. I know Romanian dudes. This is not even there.
No.
As good as Ernie Hudson's Dr. Livingston, I presume, accent is in this film,
this one's
Tim Curry as
way
Homolka
worse than that.
Is the other end of the spectrum, an absolute fucking nightmare.
A disaster.
What did you? Because I did. Did you laugh when you heard him speak? Like just hearing him speak?
Absolutely. Immediately. Like, no way. There's no way.
I couldn't take anything that came out of his mouth seriously at any point. And his search for this lost city is supposed to be like,
not only, I'll raise it for you, I laugh every single time he speaks for the first time. Like, I can be waiting for it and still not remember how fucking bad it is. He's like, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's just incredible.
No. The best scene with him in it is when he doesn't speak at all because he has a mouthful of sesame cake. Yes. Delroy Lindo's sesame cake is in his mouth.
Stop eating my sesame cake.
That's the best scene he's in.
He says it so like matter of fact, like, stop eating my sesame cake. Like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, very direct, like, stop eating my like, he's not like, there's no attitude. He's just like, stop eating my sesame cake.
Like, you invited me to eat it first. Like, you told me to eat it.
You said, please have some.
If he didn't have that horrible accent, I would feel bad for how many people clown on or threaten him.
He is clowned in this film.
Absolutely.
And mostly by black people.
Like, well, he also
black people are clowning him.
Well, he also almost uses the N-word in one
scene. He kind of did bring it upon him a lot of times.
Like, he did not endear himself to Ernie Hudson, who already did not care for him. But he nearly says the N-word, and Ernie Hudson just calls him out on it right away.
What is it? What he says something.
He calls him a filthy.
Filthy. That's right. And he goes,
filthy was the word.
And then
he starts
like he's staring into the camera.
Yeah.
Ernie Hudson goes, filthy what?
What?
Like looking at all of us being like,
right.
I see you motherfuckers thinking he's just going to get away with this. No, sir.
I mean,
all of you should be ashamed of yourself.
It's not that type of movie,
No.
Not today. Not on
today.
My watch.
Wrong movie.
That might have been in the script, and he was like, I mean,
this is the opposite of the white savior movie, for sure, because white people don't save anybody.
They just keep making mistakes.
They are the ones who need to be saved constantly.
This is one of my favorite things in this film. Maybe my favorite thing is like Amy comes into this room full of howling.
Amy the talking gorilla.
Yes, violent. Amy
Say her
the
name.
Talking gorilla walks
you.
in to this cave full of angry, violent, apes stalking their prey. Right, all these giant gorillas who have been killing people left and right. Somehow convinces them that they should just walk away from this problem altogether. And they're starting to walk away. And then in comes our fucking superhero who has created a laser out of a diamond she just found.
Yeah.
MacGruber style.
And one
just
was Ruger
starts
MacGyver.
sawing apes in half and re-angering them. And you're like, that we just solved the problem. We were just about to leave. And she's like,
Actually, no.
fuck this. I'm
Well,
killing all
remember
these
why?
motherfuckers.
But remember why she's there. She's not there for the same reasons other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's there because those diamonds. She's there to find out what happened to Charles. She finds out what happened.
That's her
to
reason
Charles.
for being there, but her real reason for being there is to find those diamonds.
So yeah, so her second, so like she has like now she knows what happened to Charles, so she blames those like weird gorilla mutants, like because they're not quite.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what they're supposed to be.
I don't know. Yeah.
What do you think they're supposed to be? Like
mutated gorillas, I suppose.
That's a question.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, that's a question.
It is a question. I shouldn't ask that, but there. I mean, I know some of that is character design. I know some of that is character design, like Stan Winston, who did some amazing work. He made Ice-T a Kangaroo Man and Tank Girl, so shout out Stan Winston for that.
That's true.
Give him some love. He did that. He did basically the same time with this movie.
The gray gorillas looked cool.
Well,
Stan Winston wasn't happy. They looked angry.
Well, Stan Winston wasn't happy with how they looked. I think largely because the backdrop they're in, like so much of this movie, when you see gorillas, other than Amy the talking gorilla in California on campus, you see gorillas in this film are largely depicted in this lost city of Zinj,
right?
Which is not green woods and shade. It is it's like structure. A weird temple from Double Dare or some shit. Like
did they grab that shit? Not even Double Dare. What was the one you're talking about? What's the show?
I know
one
of those. Was like one of those Nickelodeon.
Yeah, one of those Nickelodeon
jams from like the early '90s.
King Tuckman's Tomb or something.
It was something like that. It was.
Oh like yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely.
This is gonna kill me. I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead.
It definitely starts with a T. It definitely starts with a T.
Yeah. So like it's like that set looks fake, and then there's nothing to cover up like to make these gorillas, these special gray gorillas, exist in shadow and shade.
Right.
So you just see the costumes, and their movements are like men. So I look at it and I go, well, these are like meant to be like this sort of goes back to some like weird
Legends of the Hidden 90s.
Temple. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's the one.
That was the show. That was the show. Like, it looked like
I earned a bong hit for that one.
But it's like we're talking about this ancient group of gorillas who've just stayed in this place for I don't know thousands of years. The idea that they did thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like so, I have to assume that the way this is set up, like these are somehow some sort of gorilla human hybrid. That's the only way.
Something like that.
And this existed pre-science, so. We're basically talking about
not that there was any science being performed in this.
Oh, right. No, exactly. No.
I'm just saying, I think there's a possibility that they are the product of somebody fucking ancient gorillas. That's what I'm saying here. It would, because other than taking into the account that there are people inside of those gorilla suits,
correct?
Those gorillas move like men.
Yeah,
and they're
they were taught by men. Now, if you're talking about the lore of these gorillas.
Boy.
The lore
is
the lore.
Humans came, nurtured their violence to the point where the apes rose up against them.
That's not all they nurtured.
Now, I don't know what other movies you've watched with apes in them, but it's like a direct, like they just explained the plot to another ape movie inside of this ape movie.
You're so like
these gorillas were
Planet
taught
of the
by
Apes
humans.
Origin story shit.
Yeah, it was 100%. And then they even have a fight scene that is like the music, everything about it is straight Planet of the Apes, old school Planet of the Apes.
That's true, actually. Oh my goodness.
That whole fight scene was like, oh my God, this is like the music doesn't sound like this in the rest of the film. It's all adventure-y and grand, and then this is like boom, 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 like it's just straight from the film. They just ripped it off for one scene. They explained the plot to Planet of the Apes, and then they have an ape fight from the Planet of the Apes. And they're like, okay, it's not Planet of the Apes anymore. They're all getting killed by lasers. We're going to go outside. Come outside with us.
Laser.
Come on, listen, there's a fucking volcano now. Like, we're laughing, but that's the actual sequence of the plot. Is they're like, apes mad, apes confused, apes cut in half by laser. Everyone goes outside, volcano erupts. A volcano that was brought up in the third act. the beginning of the third act.
Well, the volcano exists in the beginning too. When he does the satellite.
But the guy calls him and is like, "Hey, I think that thing's going to blow this week," because that's how volcanoes work.
But I don't understand
scientists that are there are like, "Oh no,
there isn't a single." I don't understand why there isn't a single seismologist on this fucking thing.
Right. You're going to a volcano-pocked area.
I'm surprised Monroe wasn't.
But we're talking about this
Does
guerrilla
the Congo
society.
have volcanoes?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know.
Congo have volcanoes.
The truth of this is simple. That like you're discouraged me from asking questions, and as a result, I decided not to try to like debunk anything that happens in this film. Sometimes my brain, I watch film like I'm going to try to figure out. Okay, that could never happen. I suspended my disbelief for the entirety of the film, and where I really started to suspend my disbelief was when they gave a monkey a martini. That's it.
Let's talk about it. They drugged that monkey 4 times. They give it a martini, and that's drugs to an ape. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They get it. I believe they get it high.
Wait, but do you think that was okay? Here's my question.
I believe it was weed in the thing. Yeah. So
no, that's not my question.
You haven't seen the film. The monkey takes a lit cigarette, hand-rolled cigarette away from the thing.
From Monroe's hand.
From Monroe. Takes it away from Monroe, smokes it, and then her handler is like, "Now don't inhale," like a funny little joke. And I think that might have been around the Clinton weed stuff.
Probably.
Was
probably
still prominent in the news.
Well, because that would have been like that's campaign trail stuff. He talks about how he did inhale.
Right.
So that absolutely
did inhale. So this is
part of it.
There's a little subtle nod to it. I think it's marijuana. I believe it to be marijuana, but you can't prove it. You also believe it. So
I think so. I think it is. Yeah.
She smokes some weed. She has like a whole blunt, like a really big blunt.
And
to herself, doesn't even like pass it back.
And then every time she gets on a plane, she's lit.
Absolutely. Because they get her on a boat and they give her they like put things in a banana that
was on the plane.
That was on the plane and on the boat.
Yeah, they kept giving it to her. So
like twice they gave her what this random stranger has termed gorilla Xanax.
They're giving Molly to a freaking monkey. It's crazy.
I am down to take gorilla Xanax. Or that's my rap name now is Gorilla
Xanax.
She didn't wake up for like in the midst of like a crashing plane. She didn't freak out or wake up or anything. That shit works.
No, totally. So they drug this monkey for a lot of the film. Now
the question is was the film actually just Amy just tripping balls and everything is just
this movie could have been a monkey's dream.
Just a monkey tripping. It's a monkey high as hell.
Just having a time.
I do have a question, and I'm gonna ask this
and then it's set free.
Because I need to know something about how I feel about Amy as a character in this film. Do you think that was a gin martini or a vodka martini?
It was a vodka martini.
I like vodka.
I'm confident.
I really was hoping it was a gin martini. I was really hoping. I'd have a lot more respect for her if she was a gin drinker.
Okay, I thought there was like a weird pun coming or something.
No, it's just that I just think I prefer gin. I prefer a gin martini.
I think a gin if you're gonna have a martini. When I was a drinker and I had martinis, I think I had one vodka martini in my whole drinking career. It was like, I'll just have the one that tastes better.
Right.
Thank you. I'll have that. You can keep this one.
So, Jay, when we watch these movies, we don't watch them together in the same room, but we watch them simultaneously. We text each other while we're watching it. Usually I do one stoned watch and one sober watch.
For what? Watching another quick handy tip for this film. If you are a cannabinoids user, now's the fucking time. Now's the fucking time. And don't skimp. Go all in.
Mm-hmm.
Go all in, because this is it. You're going to want to go to bed afterwards anyway.
Please tell me you smoked during your viewing of this movie.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing. I had a sober one, but first time, it was like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. So I had myself a little edible and I was feeling very good. And I guess it did something to my brain, so I have to confess. Um, in the first viewing of the film, I did not realize that Amy the talking gorilla was not a real gorilla.
I did too. No, okay,
Hand
yeah,
to God.
yeah, yeah.
Hand to
Okay,
God.
Absolutely.
okay,
I
cool,
was
cool, cool, cool.
so stoned, I thought Amy was a real gorilla.
I was convinced. Like, oh
Like a
wow, this is a.
trained gorilla.
How did they do
Well,
this?
I think that speaks to how good the performance is here. That
Yeah.
even though this is ridiculous and the whole time you're laughing and they're drugging the ape, like
Yeah.
nothing with the ape makes any sense because nothing kind of makes sense in this. It's just an
Yeah.
adventure movie. But I think it's important if you're going to talk about Amy as a character to
Mhm.
know that that performance is pretty dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like this was a real hard like that. I forget the actress's name, but she went hard.
There were two actresses who were in the suit. It took them like I don't know, it took them weeks, if not months, of training to do this role.
Like to
There was a
like
third
punch
person
over the,
who
I mean,
did
oof.
there's a third person who did the voice,
Yeah.
whatever the Amy want green
yeah.
drop drink like that. Somebody did that voice.
Every time she did the voice, I laughed. I
Oh yeah.
cackled every time.
Like when they
Apes
face
bad. Apes bad. Ugly apes go away.
ugly woman,
Ugly
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 woman.
woman.
woman. Ugly woman like over and over again and then him going, "Yeah, you're ugly." Like,
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
ugly.
And then he apologized to Laura Linney later. He's just like,
it's so good.
I'll
and she
explain it. I'm
completely
sorry.
understood. She was like, it's okay. I know you had to
No, it's
help
okay.
your
It's
And
good
you
girl.
for
know,
the ape.
the gorilla will probably rip my head off. So yeah.
The
When
gorilla needs
they're
confidence boosters.
when they're
She doesn't have
talking
a
to
high
each other,
self-worth.
when they're talking to each other, it's like kind of sparks are flying a little bit and they're like really smart. They're like quoting poems and like back and forthing about the scientific, like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the scientificology of all of this to make up a word.
And then
Like
Amy
they're
throws an
just,
egg at her. Amy just
and
throws an
like
egg right
as
at her.
soon as they turn around and they're faced with anything other than each other,
Hmm.
they're functionally brain dead. They make the exact wrong decision. It's just awful.
They make so much fuss about Laura Linney having been CIA, and they
Right.
extend that to the point where like she's CIA, so she's like a
Superhero,
superhuman,
bro.
right? But then like in the face of danger, it's just like oh shit. And other than making that super laser, she largely doesn't show any levels of heroism across this
Okay,
film.
okay. This is fucking flare guns into missiles erasure. She
Okay,
shoots a
Okay, yeah,
flare gun
yeah, on the
is
and
flamethrower.
that
blows up
That
a
was
missile
badass. Yeah.
twice. They take 3 flare guns. Because then
yeah.
what Ernie Hudson sees her doing is like, why have I never
Oh,
thought
okay.
about this before? Of course.
It
And
is
rolls
one
over,
of
and on his first shot ever, is
yeah.
just like,
Perfect.
I'll take the one
Perfect.
on the right. They never even communicate who's going to take what missile. It's like,
It is one of the best like single shots of the film is the shot where
incredible.
there's
Yes.
two of them where Laura Linney and Ernie Hudson, you see them with their flare guns out the side of the fucking plane shooting the flare guns. Just that
Now,
one scene is like that cinema
the
right
whole
there.
plane
That
scene is
art.
fantastic. And like I want to make sure that people know that I find this to be a wildly entertaining film. I've watched it a number of times
Mm,
and I love it. I love this movie and I love parsing it because it makes no fucking sense. My
none.
favorite
Not at
thing
all.
in that scene is that like toward the end the dude's like, I'll just take my fucking chances on the plane. I'm not like putting my monkey through jumping out of a fucking airplane. I think that's wrong. And the guy's like, the pilots are gone. You can do what you want, but
Yeah,
you're
that was
gonna
hilarious.
die. The pilots were all the first people to jump off the fucking plane. Were like, enjoy like whatever it is you guys are doing. We're gonna skedaddle. One of them apparently was Jimmy Buffett.
Wow.
The
Well,
credits
no.
taught me that.
No. There's I want to but I actually did some research on this to make clear.
Oh, why are you ruining this?
Because Jimmy
Because
Buffett
before
isn't
I gave you my philosophy, you were asking questions. And now all of a sudden we're going to get answers.
Jimmy Buffett wasn't the pilot on that plane. He was the pilot on the previous plane.
Gosh.
He didn't have a line. It's one of Jimmy Buffett's. He's appeared in a few different things
All
over the
these
years.
years.
He was in Jurassic World as a.
This is our second Jimmy Buffett feature
and
film.
he was a pirate in the movie Hook, which is pretty good as well. Given that he has famous "A Pirate Looks 40" is one of his classic songs.
His whole thing's been piracy the whole time.
Yeah, like it's like a big deal. Like so from that,
if you're making a playlist of pirate themed bands and whatnot, if you leave Jimmy Buffett off, it's not a list.
Judging by my shirt, I definitely
was and still to me is a pirate. He's a pirate. Always has been.
Absolutely.
Just because he didn't sail the seas and strike out for booty.
Yeah, no.
Still a pirate.
He just moved weight is basically what he did. Which God bless Jimmy Buffett.
Listen, thank you.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. Thank you for bringing some fucking good weed through.
My first concert ever.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
I've come to embrace it in my older age. I'm just like, you know what? That's just what happened. I just went to it. That was what happened. I've been trying to deny it for years. The next one was Elton John, and that's like a perfect first. Moving on.
Moving on to what? Not for nothing, but like moving on to what?
Like so many things just happen so quickly in this movie.
Dude, this movie is a scattering of happenings. We haven't covered much of it.
Like
we
Jay,
haven't covered much of it. Listen,
Jay, let me
they
ask
get
you,
away on a hot air balloon that we never saw before.
I don't remember where the hot air, especially
we never saw it before.
I do remember they mentioned it though. They actually did mention it. There was like a hot air balloon, but it was just like so like it didn't matter.
It was in. When did they inflate it? When was it like ready to be operational?
I think it was on the plane that crashed. The second plane that was sent by
there's no time to, unless they had some of the soldiers set it up.
Yeah. Well, they still had a team at that point of people.
Right.
Because when Joey Pants from The Sopranos shows up the second time, not after he's stamped out the air, but when he shows up on the plane with the supplies for them, the one thing he says he doesn't have is the balloon. So the balloon is mentioned at that scene, but I imagine the second plane, which has had different supplies and different crew, the one that got shot down, is where the balloon is.
But why would you go out of your way to tell someone you don't have a hot air balloon? That's a question.
That's a question.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
You have to stop asking questions, Jeff.
Again, you have to just take it at face value. So I'm here to tell you that before this balloon that came out of nowhere, we were told that there was no balloon.
We told there's no balloon. That there was
so this is double surprising in a way.
Yeah, but
they just are immediately. They know where the bug out point is.
Yeah,
they know how to get it operational immediately. These people were experts in fucking everything, but didn't do any of them correctly. Even with the thing where they get away. At the end, as they're getting away, the guy goes, I have no idea where we're going. I hope it's cool. And they're like, us too. They're just like, by the way, this brilliant plan has no ending. We have no idea where we're going.
We don't know where
which is an adventure movie sort of.
They're escaping the lava. That's it. That's all it is.
We're just getting the hell out.
We don't know what happens. I hope they're okay.
But yeah, I just want you to understand that this is why when I watch these films, I do a second watch sober. And what I usually do on the sober watch is I put the captions on. Because sometimes somebody says something.
Did you do a sober watch?
Yeah, this is my second watch was a sober watch for this one. Well,
yeah, you were texting me during, and you were a little grumpier this time. The second time, I was like, "What the fuck?" And that's when I was like, "Listen, man,
stop asking
I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to need to stop asking me questions. I don't want to hear it."
Because sometimes when you watch these things with captions later, like we put that on,
explains some things.
It explains some things. Sometimes, like, because they'll hurry through information that they're trying to give you.
I like pre-recorded. That's why I remember. I don't like live events with captions, but I like watching things.
Yeah, with captions. It helps. It helps in a big way. And like I grew up, my mother was hard of hearing, my grandmother was deaf, so like I'm not bothered by captions the way that people who don't watch TV captions have. Like I was used to seeing them on the screen all the time, so it's very normal for me. And it becomes for me like in these times, like it helps me to understand on the second viewing something I might have missed in the first, but. I can assure you that other really than this balloon situation, I did not learn anything else from knowing what they were saying. Other than the fact that it was
I'm trying to form Amy my thought outside of a question right now. It's really hard because I have a question.
I mean, I have a question too, but I'm trying to.
But I'm not asking the question.
I want Jay to ask this question. This question I have is,
go ahead.
Jay, this question I want to ask you because like they have it.
Question.
And I'm trying to frame it as not a question, but it's gonna have to be.
It's
Right.
really
So
hard.
when they're on the boats
Mhm.
at night,
Mm.
what did you expect to be in the water?
I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I had no clue at all. I really can't answer that. I was
Yeah.
just
Of course you can. Of course you
I
can.
shouldn't even
No
ask you a question.
question.
I'm
No
sorry.
question.
You asked the question.
I'm just like, what are you about to show me right now? I'm just ready for whatever. I had no clue.
I'm thinking like some kind of alligator, lizard, whatever, like a
You would
crocodile.
think so? Like they're in
I'm thinking
Africa,
like okay,
yeah.
crocodile Dundee. Like I'm starting to think in that word. I expect something to come with that.
Hippopotami.
I did not
Hippopotamus.
expect hungry hippos.
Hungry, hungry
Hungry,
hippos.
hungry hippos.
I did not expect that. I did
That,
not
I,
anticipate.
Well, to
not
be
at all.
fair, before when they were on the river, they were kind of playing the waiting game. And the waiting game sucks, so we went ahead and played Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Hungry hippos, yeah, yeah. I know. I get the joke. I get the joke.
Okay.
Little Simpsons reference there
Little
for you,
Simpsons,
Gary.
Little Simpsons reference.
That
I
was for you,
appreciate it.
buddy, because I know you're getting heated.
I'm getting a little heated about this because the thing is, it's like the problem. This is what's driving me crazy, dude. Is that like I'm sitting here and I'm trying one not to ask questions, failing at
Right.
that.
So then
And
I
two-
shouldn't
and
bring
two,
up the
trying not to pull the
technology that
threads.
starts this film.
Oh
The-
no!
The
Oh no!
invention. So listen, I'm just because I can't ask any
You
questions.
can't ask a single
I've
fucking
no more
question.
questions. Since I can't ask a question,
No
I'm
further
just going to
questions, Your Honor.
state something, and you
Mhm.
guys can react however you feel.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Are we ready?
That works. That
Hold
works.
on. Let me.
That's
Do you
fair.
mind if I take a bong rip first?
Yeah, no,
Go
please,
right ahead.
for the love of God,
Absolutely.
do that. Yeah, so yeah,
Jesus
hippos.
Christ.
Hippos
All right.
was not what I expected to see in this film. Fucking hippos. And I didn't realize hippos were jerks.
The
Hippos are
inventor,
awful. Yeah, hippos are
I had no
awful.
idea.
the scientist inventor, man.
Which one? Which one?
The main dude.
Dylan Walsh.
Yeah. I don't want to know his name. I've seen this movie like 10 times. I don't know anybody's name. I don't want to know anybody's name. I don't want to
His
know anything
character's
about
name-
it.
His character's name is
wanna
Peter Elliott.
Peter Elliott.
I just want to watch the series of events that make this thing happen.
Yeah, no,
'cause
sure.
It's fucking crazy.
It is.
But the inventor scientist, the handler for Amy, the
No
talking
questions.
gorilla. I'm not. No. I got you.
Please frame your questions
He
in form of a
comes-
statement.
He comes out in front of a group of what I assume are investors.
I
Right.
guess.
And those investors hear him make a speech about his invention. All of them are flabbergasted. They're dumbfounded.
The invention?
The invention is my gorilla, who I trained to talk with sign language, can now also be heard in like crude speech. Even though, like, if you understand the sign language, it's probably way more sophisticated than what's coming out. Like, there might actually be like more emotion. The thing that's invented simply translates the sign language to people who don't want to learn sign language. That's
No.
the like $1 million idea that we're selling. is
Fucking no.
that you can, if you can teach any animal sign language of any kind, you can then figure out a crude understanding of their of their statement in English. Which,
No.
like, if it's a dog barking, it would just be like, hey,
Hey.
over here, check this shit out. Hey. Like, it's not. This is a terrible invention.
You want us to
Now, if I had
react to
gotten to
this?
ask questions,
Yeah.
maybe
You're not
I
allowed
could have
to.
got, but I had to. I
No,
just had to
no,
let it all
no.
out. That's what we were led to believe was $1 million idea.
Jay, please give us your reaction to that statement.
You know, the first thing that comes to my head didn't even explain how he acquired Amy in the first place. I know
No.
he
That's
did
a question.
say,
That's a question.
"Fuck, oh my god, shit."
So you can say, I don't believe they ever revealed how
Yeah, I
No.
don't think they ever revealed.
he
So
got
I just
Amy in the
wonder.
first place.
I just wonder, like, it's interesting. I just thought, man, I wonder what this gorilla is thinking about right now. Well, I just want to hear what this gorilla is thinking about. I wonder
Real.
how stoned he was. He had to be stoned. He had to be stoned.
California, right? I mean,
Right, he had to be.
What
He
if
had to
people
be.
didn't have to try to understand the animal at all? Wouldn't that help
Why are
animal-human
you
relations?
asking questions, Jeff?
Damn it.
Now I'm going to
I
attempt
was
to
asking
not
them as the character.
No.
I wasn't doing no. Okay, you're right though.
We
The
are
question was
past
asked.
the Rubicon
We were
here. We are
question was
past the
asked.
Rubicon here.
I'd
We are
just like to
now.
listen. I'd just like to take this time to apologize to both of you. I
Yeah, I
broke
would
my own rule.
apologize. I
It's so
apologize for
hard
breaking
not
rules.
to. I know.
Yeah,
It is because
just why?
the truth is I enjoyed the shit out of this movie
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
because it's
it's a fun
absurd.
movie.
It's
Yeah,
absurd. It's fun.
right.
Listen, if
But
you have stoner friends and y'all are like can't make a decision on what to watch,
Oh
and
yeah.
you just want to
Oh my
wipe
god.
your brain clean, wipe it clean of
Oh
problems,
man.
play the no questions game. Don't ask
yeah,
any questions. Just be like, excellent.
and just
Yeah,
let
no,
watch your
that's great.
friends.
It's great that this woman this woman takes like first of all, the diamonds look awful.
But they're real
Awful when you look
diamonds.
at like they're
But
just
they're real
awful.
diamonds,
They're
dude.
real diamonds.
They are
And
actually real diamonds.
and
Wow.
like
Herkimer
at the end,
diamonds.
this diamond that like is the rarest thing on Earth,
Yeah,
and only the gray apes had it,
only them.
and the humans haven't figured out how to kill a bunch of apes
Yeah,
to get a whatever.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't.
they throw it off of the hot air balloon
Sure.
The
as a
reason
symbol that they're good people. They just cut a bunch of apes in half for basically no reason, but they're good people.
you
They're
won't take the
great.
diamond, no.
No.
No, but the apes, they don't need them.
No, we need to listen. We got to draw a line in the sand. Yes, we'll continually send in packs of people to die to try and find a mineral. But we won't steal that mineral when a guy says that he doesn't care about his son that much by his actions. We won't. None
Laura
of these are
Laura Linney's
questions.
character's code of ethics
It's
is
so skewed and weird.
it's so skewed and weird. She has a deep personal connection to our dead friend Bruce Campbell. You know,
They banged.
underutilized in this film.
Not in the
for
film,
sure.
but there's implied banging. Like they
It's
dated
but-
for a
well,
while.
they-
ago.
she said, "I almost married him." It's clear
Right.
they've had.
They dated for a long time.
This isn't a Christian film, okay?
Well, I
No.
don't presume to know her sexual politics by any stretch
No.
of the imagination because there's nothing sexy about the film.
This
At
is a
any
sex.
point,
This is a
it's
sexless
sexless.
movie.
it's a sexless
unless
joyride.
you,
Oh no!
you consider the possibility,
Oh, no. I
and I'm not
consider it.
asking questions.
Hmm.
Uh-huh,
It is
uh-huh.
unless you consider the possibility that maybe there's something going on between
Maybe.
Dylan and Amy.
Yeah.
I think that if they were given time to nurture their relationship, yes, I think that they could have a good time together. But
Absolutely.
like, you have to understand that like you get maybe a minute off in between absolute nonsense action.
There's not enough time to
You can't cover it all.
to ask. I mean, part of why we have this no questions rule. I'm starting to come around to this and understand this fully now. Is that because if you take time to stop and ask a question, you'll never get through this film.
Exactly.
You're never going to get through
Never.
it. The questions start almost immediately. That invention
Not an
is
invention.
like right away. Right away. That's like 4 minutes into the film
Absolutely.
is we get this like
The first
asinine
thing we
thing
see.
and a room full of rich people being like, it's genius. I never have to learn anything ever again. Let's go. Give him the money.
Like again, if you try to
And Herkimer's there. By the way, none of that shit made any difference whatsoever. Later.
At all.
And that's the thing.
Right.
Is that
It just didn't
scene by
matter.
scene, none of them actually matter.
They
It's
taught
about the adventure.
They
It's
taught
about
a
About
getting
the
grown-
there.
adventure.
It's about getting there.
It's about the friends we made along.
yeah, the
The
friends made
friendship.
along the way, and those friends are Ernie Hudson.
Amy, friend.
Ernie Hudson is the friend you made, and I mean, like,
And
the
Amy
thing
the
is,
talking gorilla. I love Amy.
you know
Yeah,
what's
shout out
fucking
Amy.
Amy's
crazy?
a good
Amy's great.
creature, a
Amy's
simple
great.
good creature.
You know what's fucking crazy? That there are other people who are on this struggle adventure with them, characters with lines, and we don't
Just
even
didn't matter.
mention them because they don't matter. And like for example,
Not
the
at
guy Richard, played by Grant Heslov, who shows up, who's there, who's the other person who works with Amy.
Yeah. So
The only time you remember he's even in the movie is when he complains or when he gets killed.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Remember the
And then
dude that Ernie Hudson loves that he meets up. He's like, oh yeah, hey, it's my buddy. All right. That guy does absolutely nothing, dies. immediately.
What's
Not
great
asking any questions. That just happens. Also, what did they sing together? Fuck.
Oh,
Was it California Dreamin'?
they did. God, what was it?
It's not. It's a Mom and the Papa song. I felt like
It was California Dreamin', I think. Oh God, you know, I deliberately forgot that. Like deliberately took it out of my
literally
head.
forgot
I
that.
got it out of my head. I was like,
Something just
it is
yeah.
100% California Dreamin', unfortunately. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought. And like they
Um,
do the echo. Here's the thing: if you haven't seen it, this scene is so inexplicable, and it brings up so many weird questions. This is a Central African small army, and all of them know the words to California Dreamin'. Not
Oh,
only that, but they could all sing it at
just
karaoke,
perfectly.
and they do the backup parts
Hell yeah.
with a fucking touch. Oh man, it's such a in any other movie it could be an emotional scene where people are brought together. Most of those people die almost immediately, but
yeah,
don't
right.
worry about it.
They're dead. People who
Don't
die by
ask any
hippo.
questions.
It's like in a movie where a hippo will kill you, in a
Yeah.
movie where a
A
gray
gorilla.
gorilla mutant will kill you,
Yeah,
in a movie where you can get shot down by a heat-seeking missile if you don't tactically apply flare guns
that's
to
true.
save yourself. All of these factors fall into play. Then nothing matters. Nothing that happens to these characters
Mm-mm.
matter. None of the people matter. I'm just pointing out the fact that, like, I'm reiterating, our leads are pointless. We don't care about our leads.
Yeah.
Ernie Hudson's the only character on that expedition who I care about, and for good reason. It is also Ernie Hudson's favorite role he's ever played.
Wow.
Awesome.
I
I
Like,
love that
this
factoid.
man was a fucking
that was a great role.
Ghostbuster,
He was a
right?
Ghostbuster.
He was a Ghostbuster multiple times. The man was in The Crow, another movie we saw in this, where he
Mm.
basically spends the whole movie smoking.
Mm.
Great. Perfect.
Perfect.
And has been in like tons of videos. Oh, I love the fact that like it's like him, and I don't know if either of you watched Oz.
Oh yeah.
HBO's Oz was a show I watched a lot of. I love it. You see a lot of great actors on there. Two actors from Oz. Ernie Hudson plays the warden on Oz, and
Yeah.
then Adewale Akinoye Ajbaje like plays Adebisi on Oz. In this film, they're friends, and that show they're enemies. Adebisi is one of the inmates, and he's like diabolical. He's amazing. He's a great character. He's the one who has the tiny little hat that he wears on his head the whole time. Anyway, all I'm saying is like this movie is nihilistic nonsense, but it is fun. It's
super
to
fun.
watch.
I think, I praise the reviews of Roger Ebert, but I really went out and read a lot of reviews because I really wanted to know what people thought. I'd never done that before this viewing. And Ebert really liked it. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars.
Mm.
And he basically said, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
This is an adventure film, an action adventure film that's modeled after like movies from the 50s.
Mm.
And if you like movies, you understand that these come with movie watching. There used to be a lot of these. And this one, if you try really hard not to worry, is great.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that's awesome. And he goes through and he makes fun of it, like he rails on it and is like, but in the end, it's like, you know what? They're fucking leaving in a hot air balloon. That's awesome. Name another movie that you will think of that will ever be like this one again. And I was like, damn, good point, dude.
Great point.
All right. So Jay, before we let you go, you got a friend wants to know if they should watch this movie. Sell them on this movie.
Yeah, definitely. If you just want a good old movie, just put it on. Something to, get intoxicated to, have fun with, not care about too much, just don't think about it, just watch it, just put it on. You'll have a great time. If you put it on expecting a masterpiece, want to dissect, no, just put it on and just Amy, just listen to Amy and just enjoy Monroe, because Monroe is the best character in the movie by far.
Well, that's a monkey drinks a martini. That's how I would
drink a martini.
A monkey drinks a martini and calls it green drop drink.
Yeah.
Perfect. Come on.
You want to see a monkey get faded multiple times? It's Congo.
Listen, I'm sorry, I got to bring it up, but it's the thing. It's like, you're going to give it a martini? She's allowed to have one. Allowed to have one.
which raises the theory that
Not the question, the theory.
Amy might be a messy drunk.
Ooh,
and that brings me back to the gin. That brings me back to my question about gin. Why that matters? Because if it's a gin drink, then maybe Amy.
I just don't think that doctor's going to pour a gin drink. I think that
Amy might be a mean drunk.
Ooh, I believe that.
Gin angries up the blood.
I think vodka is the answer, unfortunately.
Then sleepy's up her blood.
Congo.
Watch Congo. Have a good time.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello, Gary.
Do you know how many Razzies Congo was nominated for?
I'm not answering any more questions, Gary. No. I thought we made it perfectly clear at the beginning of the episode. No more fucking questions.
All right. Jeff, guess how many Razzies this movie was nominated for? That's not a question.
It's 7.
7 Razzies.
And Shanley's one of them, and I want to bring up this point.
For worst screenplay, sure.
Worst screenplay. The worst, his adapted screenplay is thought of as one of the worst of that year. But we learned this also in the other movie we covered, Joe versus the Volcano. Mm-hmm. That if you wanted someone in that era to come write kind of schmaltzy, chintzy, 50s style jams, he actually kind of wrote a couple of, like, they're bad, yes. I understand that, and we've covered that over and over again. No. But they're super fun. And they're wildly memorable, and they stand out in a sea of other things that were becoming very, is it homogeneic? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, homogenous.
Homogenous?
Yeah, homogenous. Sure.
Homogenic, whatever. Sure. Oh. We know words. It's cabbages. What do you need words for? It's very homoerotic, this film.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think this season has made me kind of appreciate that dude.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been in the Razzie conversation. There are other things about the movie that absolutely needed to be. The other one I have a problem with. I would have been fine with 5. The other one I have a problem with is they nominated Amy, the actress that played Amy,
in 2 categories.
In 2 categories. One of them being worst supporting actress.
And the other being worse.
And I was like, you get in a fucking monkey suit and like fucking prance around like fucking hours and hours of that. Fuck you. That was a good performance. Yeah. It's not their fault that the fucking technology was stupid.
Then again, they're just considering for a second.
Movie is pretty ridiculous.
It didn't win any Razzies.
Oh, no, it did not.
It didn't win a single Razzie against some pretty stiff competition, apparently. Because apparently...
there's a little movie.
It's a little film.
Called Showgirls. That swept the Razzies that season.
Razzies had the most Razzie nominations that season. 13. 13 Razzie nominations.
Meaning Shanley is only 1 degree away from Showgirls.
Yeah. Now you may, well, we know that. We know like Congo was like 7, and we say that Showgirls was 13.
They didn't win any of the Razzies.
None. Meanwhile, Showgirls won like multiple ones, including worst screenplay.
Correct.
Joe Esterhaus, who was nominated twice.
I believe twice?
He was nominated twice that year. Once for Showgirls, Joe Esterhaus, and the other for Jade, the David Caruso erotic thriller.
Yeah. Jade.
Also nominated for worst screenplay.
I forgot that he's the dude that writes all those like steamy, like bad steamy films. Did he use Sliver too?
Yeah. This is Sliver Basic Instinct. He was the guy.
We've worked with this idiot before.
We did when we did our Showgirls episode. We talked about Joe Esterhaus a good bit.
We
could have gone a lot longer on him. We've
done a pair. We did Sliver too, I think, right?
Yeah, we did Sliver as well. Ugh. We've done a few of Joe Esterhaus.
Drek.
Now, also in the screenplay category was another film that was a huge bomb that year, The Scarlet Letter, starring Demi Moore and Gary Oldman.
Oh,
that's another screenplay thing. Again, Showgirls, but there's one more movie, Jeff. One more film that had 5 Razzie nominations that year, including in the screenplay category. Again, No match
Wait,
for
now-
Showgirls.
Do we want to give them the answer here?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked a question. I don't think we should give them the answer.
Oh no, I think
I
we
don't
need
think
to give them the
I
answer.
think we should leave it as a cliffhanger.
I don't think we should in this case. I don't think we should.
I don't think
And
we
I'll
should.
tell you why. Because
Cliffhanger?
if you paid attention
Mhm.
throughout this, and this is really a gift for those who've been watching this episode,
no.
rather those who've been listening. What's on my hat? Worst screenplay
man.
nominee, It's Pat the
The
Movie.
movie.
5 Razzie nominations for this film, including Dave Foley, Joe Foley, and Julia Sweeney as worst screen couple. They put worst supporting actress. They put, yes, you guessed it, Julia Sweeney as Pat.
So is that what we're doing next? It's Pat?
I mean, I'm sort of leaning us there. I mean, we can't reveal what the next movie is. We probably should leave them with some inkling of what we're thinking about, but maybe it's better.
Give them a little cliffhanger.
Little cliffhanger.
Just a little cliffhanger.
It's a little cliffhanger on this one.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.